From CBS News Bay Area, this is the Afternoon Edition.
And right now on the Afternoon Edition, a wartime trip. President Biden will travel to Israel as the country prepares for a possible ground invasion of Gaza. Good afternoon. I'm Ryan Yamamoto. The White House says during the visit, the president will show support to Israel while also addressing the growing humanitarian crisis in Gaza. And today, Israel launched a massive airstrike in a residential neighborhood in southern Gaza. Gaza's health ministry says at least 500 Palestinians were killed in a hospital explosion. And at least 3,000 people have been killed in the Gaza Strip since last Saturday. And supplies are now dwindling for hundreds of thousands of people as water, electricity, food, and fuel have all been shut off. So far, there's no signs of a ceasefire. Natalie Brand is following the very latest developments, and we do want to warn you, some of the video could be disturbing to watch.
Palestinians scramble to rescue terrified children following an Israeli airstrike in the southern Gaza town of Rafah. It's an area where Israel told civilians to go after evacuating from the north. CBS News Gaza producer Marwan Al-Ghul describes what he saw.
I saw dozens of killed people and dozens of injuries, no enough ambulances, no civil defense. The people here try to do all of their best to take out the injuries by their hands.
Israel says it was targeting Hamas hideouts and command centers. Hamas is holding about 200 people hostage. These are photos from a propaganda video showing 21-year-old hostage Mia Shem.
It's very hard to see my daughter. I see the pain. I see that she's in physical pain. I see she's in emotion. She's very emotional.
President Biden heads to Tel Aviv today for meetings with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and his war cabinet on Wednesday in what will be the strongest show of U.S. support yet.
The U.S. and Israel are working on a plan to enable humanitarian aid from donor nations to reach civilians in Gaza. There's also concern about the path forward for Palestinians after the war ends. President Biden will also travel to Amman, Jordan, where he'll meet with that country's King Abdullah, Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, and Mahmoud Abbas, head of the Palestinian Authority.
And closer to home, about a week ago, we met a 26-year-old Israeli grad student right here in the Bay Area. He was on a 2-week exchange program studying the Middle East when Hamas attacked Israel. And his reality couldn't be more different now. He's now back in Israel as an IDF reservist called to war for the very first time. Yuval Appelbaum hugged his parents and his nephew goodbye before he went to the base in northern Israel. Our Betty Yu got a chance to talk to him.
Do you have a vest on?
No, I have my weapon on. I have a safe place right a few meters from me. So if there's a rocket launched at us, we make sure to go to a safe place. This means we have to sleep with our shoes on, with our uniform on.
Are you scared?
Of course, I don't want to die. Of course, I would rather keep on my life, and I don't want to be scratched mentally. I don't want to be hurt physically. But I know this is not only about me. This is about the future of my people. This is about the future of democracy here in the Middle East. We're the only democracy, and we want to keep it this way, and we want to extend this freedom also to the Palestinians. We want the people in Gaza to live a better life. A better life cannot be lived with a terrorist organization like Hamas.
And Israel's called up more than 360,000 reservists to active duty after the Hamas attack. It's one of the largest mobilizations in the country's history. And we'll continue to follow the latest developments out of the Middle East on air streaming on CBS News Bay Area and online at kpix.com. Here's a live look across the Bay Area after the fog burns off. A warm-up kicks in today. Meteorologist Jessica Birch here with a preview. Jess.
High pressure's building its way in as we head into the next couple days, so temperatures, they're going to start rising as we head into our Wednesday and Thursday forecast. It's building a heat dome over us, kind of like how it was during Fleet Week, if you remember. 90s in the forecast throughout most of the Bay Area, but take a look at this. Right around the corner as we head into the next couple days, I mean, temperatures throughout the Bay Area, we see 70s now. We're going to be talking about 80s, potentially 90s in areas like Oakland, all the way over into the East Bay especially. 90s are going to stretch widespread throughout the East Bay and all the way down to the Santa Clara Valley. But today, we're sitting in the 70s and 80s, so enjoy it while we have it. I want to show you the next 7 days because there's some big changes around the corner for us. And luckily this heat wave, it doesn't last too long. Only really Wednesday and Thursday, and then into the weekend we go. We cool down fast into the 70s for our inland areas. We see that dramatic change even in areas like the Bay, San Francisco, across the Bay Bridge over into Oakland. I mean, 70s into 90s just by Thursday, 90s into 60s as we head into the weekend forecast.
All right, thanks, Jess. And taking a live look at Capitol Hill, where Ohio Republican Jim Jordan has failed to win the speakership on the first ballot. 20 Republicans voted against Jordan. Right now, the House is in recess, but more voting is expected as he works to shore up support. Jordan is seeking to replace Kevin McCarthy, who was ousted as Speaker 2 weeks ago. Back here in the Bay Area, San Francisco Mayor London Breed announced a new public safety measure aimed at giving police officers more tools to catch criminals. Safer San Francisco would give officers access to technologies like drones, ease restrictions on police chases in the city, reduce paperwork requirements for officers, and reform practices from the police commission. The mayor says this proposed ordinance will allow officers to do their jobs more effectively and efficiently.
People are always wondering, why didn't the police do this? Why didn't the police do that? And it all goes back to many of these new, consistently changing, conflicting policies that have not helped with reforms.
Mayor London Breed plans to put this ordinance on the March 2024 ballot. And across the Bay in Oakland today, Mayor Sheng Thao will give her first State of the City address. That speech is Thao's first opportunity to present her plan for the city. She'll lay out her vision to combat crime, homelessness, and a budget deficit, and the anticipated departure of the A's. That speech will kick off at this afternoon's City Council meeting. And cameras will soon help crack down on dangerous drivers. Speed cameras will launch in 3 of the biggest Bay Area cities. Governor Gavin Newsom signed a bill to legalize them. Jocelyn Moran spoke with one family whose personal tragedy helped inspire that change.
This is Eileen Quiros. She was just 5 years old when she was hit and killed on Bluefield Drive in San Jose. She was crossing the street with her family near Parkview Elementary School.
She was a very sweet, innocent little girl who loved playing soccer. She would always carry a small little Bible with her. She liked hearing a lot of gospel music.
Eileen died in May of 2013. Her sister, who was 2 at the time, and aunt suffered injuries. Her mom, Elizabeth, and dad, Jorge, say Eileen was full of life. They think about her every day.
We're just so glad that the life of my daughter was not just a number out there. Actually, that cause is gonna help save lives. So it means the world to us.
Governor Gavin Newsom just signed a bill into law that will allow the use of speed cameras in the state in 2025. San Francisco, San Jose, and Oakland, along with 3 other cities in Southern California, will now be able to pilot speed camera programs. 33 cameras will be placed in San Francisco in streets with highest crash rates as well as school zones. Fines would be imposed on drivers exceeding the speed limit by 11 miles an hour, but there could be fee reductions for those who qualify based on financial need. Among those celebrating the bill was organization Walk San Francisco, families, and city leaders, including Mayor London Breed.
To see these families here, the reason why we know they pushed so hard for this is because they didn't want anybody else to experience what they've gone through. We are so excited to begin the process of implementation.
For Elizabeth and Jorge, they're hoping this helps families because they know what it's like to lose a child. They had a son 2 years after Eileen passed, born on the same day of the month. He likes soccer just like she did.
We usually go to the cemetery and also as well, and he plays. I'm coaching him right now. So as I coach him, so it's always she's always on our mind.
You have to learn how to live with it, and each and every day is a remembrance of her.